Wow, I took the wrong choice to take a sip right then. Okay, anyway, welcome back to Bloodhaus, the art house horror podcast. Once again, Josh is out this week, and so I am here sad and alone, usually a co-hostess, and now just wandering the hillside, recommending art house horror films to people who will listen to me. And today I am joined by none other than podcasting extraordinaire from This Ends at Prom, author of Sleepaway Camp with her wife, the definitive book on the best trans slasher of all time, a filmmaker, a writer, a critic, and an all-around outrageously fun human being, here to talk about an outrageously fun movie. Ladies and gentlemen, BJ Colangelo.
Wow, can I record that and send that to my mom? And be like, I promise I'm good at what I do. I know you don't understand what my job is, but I'm good at this.
They get it. Listen, if you can move to Los Angeles and like stay there for like more than a year, your parents understand that, like, okay, you're apparently successful. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's like that statistic I read once that was like most podcasts end after like 6 episodes, like 85% of podcasts end after 6 episodes. So it's like, you know what? We've done it. We have found the bar that is in hell and took a little hopscotch over it.
Okay, but your podcast is how do I put this? More successful than ours. Solely from the metric of you guys like have more episodes, have more success. And also like you guys have done some really amazing like commentary tracks too. Like you guys did the commentary track on Welcome to the Dollhouse for Radiance Films, which is like one of my favorite commentaries.
Yeah, that was definitely one of those, oh shit, not only do people actually listen to us, but they like what we have to say moments.
And they want to pay us money to say it. Right. And force people to listen. Okay.
Right, like you want this on like a physical track in perpetuity. That is wild to me.
Even if for some reason the podcast ends, even if some reason your bodies are never found and you disappear from the face of the earth and your memories are lost, 1700 years from now, people who like find an ancient Blu-ray player and a copy of Welcome to the Dollhouse will hear your voices ad infinitum.
They will know that I lived by the motto that some people's lives aren't sad enough to find things funny.
That movie's the fucking best. I'm so glad you guys got to do that.
Thank you.
What have you been up to? What have you been doing? I mean, like, last time you were on the podcast, you have since published a book. Like,
yeah. Wild. So Harmony and I wrote a book about Sleepaway Camp, and I am very, very proud of it because it's partially a film history book, but it's also a look at, the way that this movie has sort of fluctuated in cultural consciousness of people thinking that it's great or thinking that it's terrible and then thinking it's great again and thinking it's terrible again and how there's no correct answer for how someone is supposed to feel about this movie. And then also, gave Harmony a couple of chapters to just go off about how people are weird and tokenized trans critics in the film space. So that was
trust me,
nice.
As someone who's not a film critic, simply being in the trans film space, being a trans person in the film space in general, like making art for it and interacting with it and like, working in film, period. I very frequently get people come up to me and be like, so is Longlegs transphobic? And I'm like, bitch, make up your mind.
Right. Like, you should not need to ask a trans, like, make your own decision and then understand that, like, some trans people might agree with you and some of them might not, because there isn't like a giant memo board installed in the brains of every trans person that's like, this week we're discussing Longlegs and whether or not it's transphobic for someone to be into hair metal. Like, shut up.
I know there isn't a big message board like that because I didn't get the message board memo when I got the transification to get into fucking coding and like hyperpop music. That didn't hit me. So I am like out there in the outskirts. I don't understand computers. I don't understand anime, and I don't understand hyperpop. I am just living on horror movies, art house films, and punk rock, being like, I guess there's some of us like this.
Don't
I guess we
worry.
exist.
The hyperpop thing also flew by Harmony, and she's like,
Oh yeah.
okay, sure. If this is the thing, I'm old. I don't know what to tell you.
I know, like, Harmony are the two, like, Motley Crue stands of the trans community.
Yeah, she always refers to herself as like, she's like, I'm a Steinman gay. Like that's
Yeah.
that's my brand of like over theatrics.
Oh my god. Well, have you been watching anything like outlandish or incredible or like noteworthy of late to fill your clearly like endless amount of like empty time where you just sit around and do
I know,
nothing because you're
apparently I
just
do.
like you're just
Apparently I
hanging
do nothing.
out.
So I watched a couple of weird things that I think are worthy of note, especially for this show. So the first one is I saw a comedy movie from 1982 called Young Doctors in Love.
Oh my god, I have that on tape and I haven't watched it yet.
It's basically Gary Marshall doing Zaz and parodying a lot of like the medical dramas. And there are some aspects of it that I'm like, oh, this is genuinely really, really funny, especially if you have ever watched a medical show. Like, even if you didn't watch medical shows in the 1980s, if you've seen a single episode of Grey's Anatomy, you will understand the jokes that are going on here. It's very silly, just very weird and very much in that sort of, airplane-esque, but I love you, Gary Marshall, not quite as good at doing it. So some of the jokes I'm like, this didn't work, but hey, you tried. So I watched that. That was fun and silly. And then I watched Red Rooms finally.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing about that.
There is a scene in Red Rooms that I have not been able to stop thinking about because for those that don't know what it is, it's about a model. It's a French Canadian movie, so it is in French. So you got to read subtitles, deal with it. But she's become fascinated by a serial killer who's currently on trial, and we don't know entirely like where the fascination comes from for a while. But she then meets another person who's also fascinated, and this person is fully like, he didn't do it. Like one of those weird groupies.
Oh yeah.
And so you're seeing these two different forms of like parasocial obsession with a serial killer, but our lead that we're following, she's also big on the dark web, and that's where her fascination comes from, is because this killer killed people and then uploaded the footage to the dark web, so she has seen it. And not only has she seen it,
Lord,
she has copies of it, so she knows what this guy did. And so it's just this really strange look at both, like, I think people's obsession with like true crime culture that has emerged in recent years, dealing with the dark web, dealing with people who think that like by becoming so obsessed with these cases that they can fix it in ways that, the law enforcement can't, which I get it, or like the law enforcement across the country is like garbage. So I understand why people would feel compelled to do that. But there's a courtroom scene, you'll note when you see it, that I literally cannot stop thinking about because it is so insane. Like it's a creepy movie. I wouldn't say it's a scary movie. This is definitely more of a thriller than a horror film, but it is so twisted that I think horror fans, especially like art house horror fans, will like this because it's nuts.
That honestly, I'm kind of dying to see that. That sounds really, with the like dirge of like actual true crime, like retelling productions that have been coming out of late from like some one specific gay guy at Netflix appears to be making a lot of these of late. I'm like so burned out and like tired and awful and disgusted, but I listen to like Last Podcast on the Left and stuff like that all the time, and I'm very like myself interested in these things, but I'm not interested in the way that like Hollywood in general is like presenting these things. So I love taking a step back and looking at
Mhm.
the actual people who follow into these things rather than like, he mutilated 17 bodies, let's watch. Like,
Right. Like there's definitely an ethical way to produce true crime or to discuss these subjects. Like that's very much a thing. But the problem
mhm.
is that we have fallen into a level of like exploitation. Like whenever people say like exploitation is dead, it's like, no, it's not. It just became true crime. Like that's what
Yeah.
happened. And so it's just weird though, because these are real people. And in a lot of these cases,
Yeah.
like their families are still alive. Like
Mhm.
what the hell, guys? Like let's not do that.
It's very dismaying. But you know, the Menendez brothers kissed, right? They kissed all
Apparently,
over.
apparently they're also real hunky.
Oh my god. I did see that Eric Menendez literally put out a statement against Ryan
Hmm.
Murphy and against that show. And I'm like, do you think Eric Menendez might sue Ryan Murphy? This is what a world to live in. We'll
Like
see.
it looked like it was going to happen with the Dahmer show because the
I
families of
know.
Dahmer's victims were like, "What the hell is this?"
It's deeply upsetting. But now Charlie Hunnam is gonna play Ed Gein for him. So
Oh, great. I can't wait for the Ed Gein was actually a crossdresser stuff, which has been debunked to
yup.
not be debunked in this. And let's kick the hornet's nest of trans panic back up.
Mm-hmm.
All of you trans people have been having too nice of a time lately.
Yeah.
Let's put you back in your place.
That always makes me think of the James Acaster joke about like edgy comedians being
Yes.
like, you know who's had it too good for too long? Trans people.
You got a sprinkle of rights.
And right back down. Oh, good lord. Well, speaking of underrated mid like kind of goofy 80s and 90s comedies, I went to the New Beverly this week because apparently that's where I live. And they kicked off the week previously with a celebration of the late great John Ritter,
Ugh,
one of
incredible.
our greatest screen talents of all time. And my girlfriend and I both just adore Three's Company. I of course love all of his Peter Bogdanovich movies, and one of the first times that my girlfriend and I, before we started dating, watched a movie together just like at each other's house was Stay Tuned.
Oh, what a great choice for like a date
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. And so they are a friend of ours who also loves John Ritter and Three's Company and stuff, had just moved to town and like just got here. And so we took them out to go to the New Bev, and it was Stay Tuned was the B picture, which first of all, like Stay Tuned is so fucking underrated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have words for it. I mean, it's like outrageously simple 90s setup that I feel like was done to death on like kids TV at the time.
Yeah.
Of like, you got sucked into the TV. Now you've got to like run through channels, and so we get to do all these spoofs of different TV shows. There's like a Northern Exposure spoof that like kills me every time.
Northern overexposure.
Northern overexposure.
Like sometimes the joke just really is the obvious one, and that's all you need.
Yeah, and it's funny and it works. But John Ritter's like physical like comedy is fucking incredible, and Pandauber is so fucking good at it. But it's directed and lensed by Peter Hyams, who made like 2010, the year we made Contact, the 2001 sequel, and like Time Cop and like Outland, like who's mostly well known for making like these giant big budget like gorgeous science fiction movies. And he said, you know what, fuck it, let's make a goofy John Ritter movie in the style of all those like Amblin 80s like suburban nonsense like Gremlins kind of movies. It's so good. The fact that it like Stay Tuned hasn't had one of those like deluxe like Arrow or Shout Factory revival releases in the past 5-10 years is shocking to me. this movie is great. This movie is so goddamn fun. And I freaking love it. I getting to see it on the big screen feels like special because I feel like movies like that, even in LA, don't really screen.
Yeah, that was going to be my question for you because I've only ever seen this on like a VHS rental or something like that. So and like it was because it's dealing with the TV, it kind of feels like watching it on a TV is probably like the way, but I want to know how it changes on a big screen.
It's so much funnier with an audience, as every comedy will always be. And it's like, again, it's Peter Hyams was also the director of photography on it for no reason other than he's very good at his job. And it looks so much more beautiful than it has any right to be. Like, it was an archival print from 92 that they just like had been like theatrically exhibited, and they just slapped it up in 2024 on the screen, and it looked fucking beautiful. Like, it looks better than half of the shows that it's parodying. Like, the Three's Company bit in it looks better than the restored versions of Three's Company. It's beautiful. It's great. It, like, if I can champion for like an underrated 90s movie to get a 4K Ultra HD restoration, like, let's fucking go with Stay Tuned.
We don't talk enough about John Ritter as like one of those rubber face kind of actors. Everyone is always like we'll talk about Jim Carrey and like that's obvious, but we never talk about like John Ritter walked so all of you weirdos could run. Put some respect on his name.
Yeah, everything that Mike Myers is doing but like John Ritter is so great because he's the midpoint. So he has all of that great physical comedy chops. I mean, if you just look at that big famous dance scene from Three's Company, or if you look at like almost anything from Noises Off, his physical comedy is insane, and it like has all the same roots that like Cary Grant had, like all the same kind of like Borscht Belty, like he's just gonna like play it really big because he knows the people in the back need to be able to see his leg slip on that one banana peel over there in the corner. And so like that's why he did so many fucking Bogdanovich movies, is Bogdanovich understood that like, oh, this guy can do the 30s kind of thing that I'm trying to do. Got it. But then he can also like, he very much predated all that stuff that Jim Carrey was gonna do, Mike Myers was gonna do, and like David Spade was gonna do in the 90s. And like I don't know. I think he's so woefully underrated, and like he had such a great moment in the 80s and 90s where he could be a lead in comedy movies because they would put money into comedy movies back then.
Imagine.
What a world. You could go to a movie theater and see a comedy with other people. And of course he like did have his run of like dramatic roles. Like he's great in Sling Blade. He's great in fucking, but also like he was weird enough to also do like Bride of Chucky and Nowhere. Like, I mean, losing him so early was a fucking crime. Actually, at the screening, his wife, Amy Yazbek, showed up in between the movies to talk about him and talk about how important he was. And then also to raise awareness for the John Ritter Foundation too, to get people screened. Like it was so lovely. She was incredible. The other movie they showed I'd never heard of before, and it seems like it was the first one that like went up, and it seemed like the whole crowd was excited for this movie. It's a 1980 superhero comedy called Hero at Large.
I've never seen this.
It's a rom-com between John Ritter, who's like an out-of-work actor in New York City, who's the only job he can get for a time is like putting on a superhero costume to promote some big new superhero movie that's out at theaters. So he just stands in front of theaters and like shakes hands with kids, and that's it. And he starts falling in love with Anne Archer.
Oh my God.
You know, like rom-com lead of such great comedies as Fatal Attraction and Shortcuts, Anne Archer of It's Always Sunny fame. And like they like kind of fall in love and like have this like really like cute will they won't they like rom-com relationship. And then meanwhile, John Ritter like stops a robbery in his superhero getup that he's wearing as he's coming back from the job, and then everyone in New York City believes that there's a superhero like actually saving the day, and John Ritter has to like go out and get the shit kicked out of him like every few nights just so he can get attention and a little bit of money to pay his rent. It should be very, 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 very good. It's only okay, but I had a lot of fun with it. Afterwards, finding out that it was like the last screenplay to be written by a writer of like all of those like 60s Disney live action movies, who wrote like all those kind of Kurt Russell live action Disney movies. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That's what the tone of this movie was trying to be and like didn't fully get. It was trying to be a little bit grittier then. Like, okay, we're doing The Happiest Millionaire. We're doing like Emil and the Detectives. I understand. We're doing like goofy, zany, like high concept premise and like nothing else to follow through. Got it. But it was really fun and it was really cute, and like it's lovely to know that like there's more John Ritter zaniness out there that I have yet to plumb. I had a hoot with it. Okay, but the important thing, and I don't know how it took me long to get to this. There's a new movie out that like everyone's fucking talking about, especially when it comes to like art house stuff and like awards discussion and horror films, and it's The Motherfucking Substance. And holy shit, have you seen The Substance?
Of course I have seen The Substance.
Your hair has seen The Substance.
My hair has seen The Substance. My hair is also Brett Summer. I could not let my 11-year-old niece Roxy see The Substance before me because she saw that yesterday at 10 a.m. in middle of nowhere, Ohio, because she is cooler than I will ever fucking be. And she did report back that people in their in the theater left at the end.
Yep.
And she was like, I stayed through the whole thing. That movie is awesome. She gave it 5 stars and her review was holy fucking shit.
Holy fucking shit is right. I don't want to spoil it in any way, shape, or form for people listening that have not seen it yet. Just go out and fucking see it. Carly Forget is fucking incredible. Revenge, like, if you haven't seen it, is fucking incredible. This is next level. Literally, while watching it in the theater, I saw it in fucking Glendale at an AMC. The whole crowd was into it, so everyone was laughing, everyone was gasping, everyone was like flinching away. It was a lot of fun, but it was so wild to be like going on the roller coaster of that movie. There's a lot of funny shit in there. There's a lot of points where you're supposed to laugh. There's a lot of emotional stuff in there. There's a lot of stuff that really pulls at you. And there's a lot of gnarly stuff in there that's fucking disgusting. And like through all of that, I had a mounting feeling in the back of my head. And the more the movie went on, the more this feeling got larger that, oh, this is like seeing Videodrome for the first time at a theater in Toronto. This is what audiences in 1975 felt like when they went to go see Network. This is that feeling of like, oh, this is fucking important. This movie is going to be around for a long fucking time. This is like when we talk about like the way that like we now talk about the 80s, the way that we now talk about the 70s of we're like, how did that get made? Like, there's like tentpole movies, not in the sense that like they keep a studio afloat like an Avengers movie tentpole movie, but a tentpole movie in the like the way we look back at the decade. We'll think when we think about the 70s, we think about Jaws, we think about Taxi Driver, we think about these movies. When we look back at the 2020s from like 30, 50 years from now, The Substance is gonna be like sticking straight up out of the ground.
Oh yeah, like I am hoping that this ushers in like a new wave of just weird body horror, especially from women, because there is something so distinctly feminine about this movie outside of just like the shallow surface level stuff, which is very apparent. But the way that she views the body is so different than the way most people do this. And like I love that you brought up Videodrome, because I was like, yeah, this feels so much like how somebody must have felt seeing Cronenberg in the theater for the first time, because it's such a unique perspective and it's so like distinct
Mhm.
to the creator. Yeah, I think she's like a genius, because I love Revenge, I love this, but like this movie goes so fucking hard in ways that you like
Yeah.
think you like you can't process that it's happening, not just because it's adventurous and it's wild to see, but also because we don't allow people the space to make movies like this anymore. And so to see
Mhm.
her swing that hard and get to swing, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, that and to watch like a venerated like massive actress like Demi Moore do a movie like this.
Right.
Like you weren't getting in like the hag exploitation era of the 70s when like Joan Crawford and Betty Davis were doing horror movies. They weren't doing the craziest shit in the world. They were doing safe bet William Castle movies just because they
Mm-hmm.
needed money, and they weren't still big names. Like, it's been a minute since Demi Moore's been in anything, though I will say Please Baby Please is fucking incredible and everyone should see
Yes.
it, especially if you're
Agreed.
listening to
Agreed.
this episode in particular. Um but like to watch like a big and there's so much discussion in especially in like awards circles around like best actress performances, around like de-glamming, and like it's so
Mm-hmm.
brave of her to take off her makeup and play an ugly woman. Let's give her an Oscar for playing an ugly woman. Look at that. We made ourselves believe that she's ugly. To have Demi Moore give such a like emotionally raw performance and
Mm-hmm.
varied performance in this movie, to simply be in this movie, period. And then also like this movie views her as fucking attractive. Like this movie
Mm-hmm.
presents her as like being fucking stunning, and then it also puts her through like every fucking runner of the like body horror playbook it could, and it's incredible. Mark Qualley's incredible. Dennis Quaid is giving a like Martin Short level performance in this.
He really is. And like it was such whiplash, because I went from being so mad about him because like the Reagan movie
Reagan.
came out and I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck off, Dennis Quaid. And then I see this and I'm like, sometimes I forget that shitty people are really talented.
It's so fascinating. It's so fucking incredible. And the like really amazing thing about it is like movies like this that like hit me this hard and like are hitting my buttons this hard, I fully expect to like not do well with other people. Like Neon Demon didn't do well with other people, and like hit or miss with audiences. For the most part, this is getting like rave reviews from
Mhm.
critics and audiences alike. This is like outrageously highly rated on like Letterboxd. It's getting like incredible word of mouth. The marketing's been incredible. I'm really really excited. I also, and I think I mentioned this a while ago on the podcast when Barbarian came out, but I'm so pleased and excited by what feels like post COVID, post 2020 lockdown era. It's filmmaking seems to have kind of like eschewed that like late 2010s or kind of era of like minimalism and simplicity and muted
Mhm.
palettes and like languid paces. All of that is in horror in particular, but in other genres as well. It feels like we are swinging for the fences again. It feels like our editors are doing cocaine again. It feels like we are like lighting and designing things like Almodovar movies again. Like the substance is fucking beautiful and it's edited like within an inch of its life in the best possible way. But so was Worst Person in the World.
Mhm.
Like so was Barbarian. Like this, I feel like this is starting to like pick back up and we are starting to move back towards that, as opposed to the like, you know, quote unquote 2010s elevated horror A24
Mhm.
aesthetic of like everything is slow and quiet and it's about trauma
It's about
and
trauma.
it's about trauma, and all the posters have really tracked out thin type, so you have to like take a minute to read it like an eye chart. And now it's like, nope, big shit in your face. I mean, Challengers was like that. Like, so much stuff right now, I feel like maybe it's the influence of the hyperpop. Maybe Brat Summer's coming into the cinema. I don't know.
The thing I've been like so thrilled about this year is how many horror movies from both, you know, the more independent studios versus even the big studios are just having fun doing something that feels like they threw an idea at the wall. Because you have a movie like this, and then you also have a movie like Cuckoo, where it's like, like the concept behind that is like, no way they're going to take it that literal. And then they do. And you're like, okay, sick. And then you even get something as big as like Abigail, where it's like Ballerina Vampire, fuck you. And you're like, all right, I'm down. This is great.
Yeah. I really feel like there's a swing back towards like movies in general, but horror movies in particular having like a massive injection of like fun entertainment value to them, and in no way, shape, or form has that undercut the actual social criticism or, for lack of a better word, substance to them. Like, just because we're cranking the style back in doesn't mean we're losing the substance at all. And I think that's a very intentional aspect of the title of that movie.
I think so too.
I loved it. I loved it. Eventually, there will probably be a full Bloodhouse episode on it, breaking it down and stuff like that. But I want more people to see it before Josh and I come on to like tear it apart and give spoilers and talk about what that is doing in that part of the body and things like that.
Totally.
But speaking of female desire and female bodies, we are here to talk about a slightly different movie. We are here to talk about a sapphic, Spanish production giallo flick from 1973 from a very prestigious filmmaker. We are talking about 1973's The Corruption of Chris Miller.
We never know when something is going to happen. And when it does, everything changes at once. The Corruption of Chris Miller. Two women who hate each other, joined together to protect themselves from a mad killer.
He's in the library. He can't have locked all the windows. There must be some way out. But he'll see.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right. Okay, so typically when we have guests on, we invite a guest on and then we have the guest like bring a flick with them, because we're in this moment right now where we're having people come in to help fill the massive void that Josh is leaving for a little bit while he's not with us. It's kind of the other way around. So I came to you asking if you would join us for The Corruption of Chris Miller. Had you seen this movie before? Did you know about this movie?
So I knew about this movie, but I had not seen it yet. And about, I would say like 35 minutes into this, I was like, Drusilla knows my taste. She really like nailed me on this one. And then when it got to the end, I was like, oh yeah, she knew. She knew that I was the person for this. So thank you. I'm honored.
I'm so glad you liked this one. This movie. So, I heard about this. I assume the way a lot of people have heard about this from Vinegar Syndrome put it out.
That's how I know about it.
Yeah, I had never heard of it, and I was like, it was a few years ago, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago at this point. And I was like, probably in like the deepest part of my like giallo obsession. Right. Again, for those who don't know, the super stylish Italian horror thriller subgenre from the 60s and 70s into the 80s. They fucking rule. But they're not solely defined by Italy, because anything in Europe, anything that becomes popular gets picked up by Germany and Spain and France and England and everything else. And there's a lot of Spanish-produced gialli. And this one, I think there's like a Vinegar Syndrome sale happening, and this just sounded like it was in that vein, and I was like, I'll take a $15 plunge on this. Let's see. And it was the first thing I watched when that order came through, and I lost my mind over it. It's like this and Count Dracula's Great Love are the two best things I've ever discovered through Vinegar Syndrome, and God bless them for that. And I keep coming back to the well, even though not everything hits as hard as this one did. I keep trying.
You got to
see
chase
if they
that high.
My bank hates me, but I keep doing it. And this movie just blew me away, and it's been one that I think about a lot, and it's one that I found myself when I'm working on scripts and I'm writing and stuff like that. I'll like have like elements of things blocked out, and then I'll always be like, let me like pull a list of movies for reference for me to like pitch this with, or to like watch as I'm like cohesively putting a full script together. And almost every single time I do that, the two movies that always pop up on the list every single time are The Corruption of Chris Miller and Repulsion, because there's something about these movies, something about ladies locked in one space going through it, that for some reason I really connect with and relate to. So this movie stars Gene Seberg of Breathless and Bonjour Tristesse fame, the incredible American actress who then had a very kind of fraught life in European art house cinema. Absolutely incredible. And the singularly named Spanish screen icon Marisol,
See,
who
that is what like really drew me into this, because obviously the Sunset Prom is a teen girl podcast, so we talk a lot about people like Miley Cyrus or Selena Gomez, or these young actors who get their start in ways where it's like the world around them is that they are young and they appeal to young people, and we're going to merchandise the hell out of them. And then they get to a certain age and they're like, I need to be seen as an adult. I need to do something else. And learning that this is the movie for Marisol was wild. It's like, oh, this is when Selena Gomez did Spring Breakers, but for Marisol.
Yeah.
Like, that's nuts to me.
And the other thing to keep in mind about this movie and about Marisol's career and this movie's place in that is, again, this is 1973 Spain, so we are still under the Franco dictatorship. So let's just like have that go over the top. I know we've like in the past on Bloodhaus have talked about movies like Arabato, which came out after, and some other Spanish films that came like before the fall of that. So they were like politically charged and like working things out through under the radar in a way that could come out, like Cannibal Man. I genuinely have no idea how this movie like greased out to Spanish screens at the time. And the crazier thing is that there's two different endings to this movie that are available, that are on the Vinegar Syndrome release. The one that, if you have the Vinegar Syndrome release and that's how you're watching it, the one the movie ends with is the export ending, is the ending that like England and America got. The ending in Spain is far more like amoral. Like wild to me. Absolutely wild. The other thing I should mention before we get into it like in earnest is that this movie, like a handful of giallo movies at the time, is from a really prestigious director who just needed some money. It's written and directed by Juan Antonio Bardem, who is the uncle of Javier Bardem. But like directed some of the best and most influential movies from Spain through the 50s and 60s, like Main Street and Death of a Cyclist. Like Death of a Cyclist is fucking incredible, really amazing, like taut, like Kafka-esque thriller. It's got a fucking Criterion release. And then like a little less than 20 years later, he was like, okay, so like some lesbians murder a dude. There's like kind of incest and like Charlie Chaplin's there.
I mean, as one does, of course.
as one does. And this is the trajectory I like to see. This is the like body of work I love. Like, I love that Peter Bogdanovich can go from making a Boris Karloff movie about like gun control and then turn around and make What's Up, Doc? You need to be able to do both.
Yeah, you need to be able to show that you have the range, because I also think like this is why whenever people get upset when like somebody known for comedy wants to dabble in horror, like the people that were so suspicious of like Jordan Peele's doing a horror movie, and I was like, no, it's cross training. Like, you understand
Yeah.
pacing and genre in a way that's completely unique. And so having somebody who is known for these more like prestigious films is going to still carry that artistry into a film that in other hands would just be schlock. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
I also love schlock, but it's nice to see something like this be treated with, you know, I don't want to say like respect, but like it does feel like it's a very respectful look at these characters and what they're going through and the banana circumstances they find themselves in.
Yeah. For as like chintzy and exploitive as the setup to this movie has the potential to be, it is like thought through, scripted, and lensed in a way that like this could absolutely stand on a shelf next to Strip Nude for Your Killer, but it could also stand perfectly next to like Alain Delon and La Piscine. Like, it's like right in between those two, because Juan Antonio Bardem is an incredible filmmaker in the same way that like previously this year Josh and I talked about Peeping Tom. Like, Peeping Tom could be a sleazy fucking slasher, could be a really like fucked up sleazy movie, and it is a fucked up sleazy movie, but it's also made by the guy who made The Red Shoes. So it's like painfully beautiful and has a lot to fucking say about like the nature of artistry.
Yeah.
So anyway, somewhere in
Charlie
Spain,
Chaplin.
let's talk about how Charlie Chaplin murdered a lady.
That mask is disgusting.
It's so good. So this movie opens with the actress Perla Cristal playing a woman named Perla. She was like a big actress who was in a handful of like genre movies in Spain at the time, playing a like beloved theater star of stage and screen who is throwing a man out of her house who's been kind of staying there. And when he pops up in her old Charlie Chaplin outfit that she used to do drag performances as, which awesome. He murders her in full Charlie Chaplin guise and then just heads off into the country. And then we jump to the beautiful house of Ruth and Chris Miller, who are not related by blood. The movie really wants to let you know.
Stepmother, what are you doing?
Stepmother, no. Played by Gene Seberg and Marisol. Chris Miller, played by Marisol of The Title, has recently been released from some kind of sanatorium. It is implied, for some kind of a reason. And she is waiting on word from her father, who she has not seen in some time, but she's certain he's gonna write her a letter and show up any day.
And because she's traumatized, we get plenty of opportunity for Marisol to just kind of look a little bit diagonal into the distance so the light really hits how beautiful her eyes are.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of her, like, looking out into, like, a window as rain falls on it, looking, like, unnerved and twitchy. It's wonderful. Gene Seberg is her stepmother, Ruth Miller, who is very bitter towards men as a gender, and particularly Chris's father, insisting he'll never come back. You know he's not coming back. All men are like that. It's all they want. They can't love. Men can only possess.
Ruth Miller is really president of like the Men Ain't Shit Club, and I'm all about it.
at no point is she wrong.
No, she's right this whole movie. Well,
and
they're wrong at one point, but we'll get there.
There might be some wrongs, but she is doing her best to take care of Chris and their country chateau, where she sits around all day doing her costume designs and wardrobe illustrations, which are beautiful and stunning. And what a life! What a beautiful house with a pool in the front yard and big vines over the house. And she just lays out on her couch all day, just doing like one illustration a day, and then like has to like have a drink. And like the like main living room is also like a library, and there's like a hidden trap door into the wine cellar and basement. It's so fucking beautiful, their life. And whenever it rains, Chris has an attack of clearly PTSD related to when she was a dancer and when there was a very large man with a mustache. And she keeps a knife by her bed, or an emery board that's bladed, or maybe a letter opener or something, that for some reason Ruth lets her have next to her bed, which whenever she has one of her attacks, will just start stabbing at her pillow willy-nilly.
Yep.
And she tells stepmommy Ruth that even if I call out for you in the night, don't come. But Ruth wants to be there for her so bad. It is so sapphic. It is so incestuous in like a way that's like, no, it's fine. Margot and Richie Tenenbaum weren't brother and sister. She was adopted. That's fine. The Umbrella Academy can do it. They're not fully related. It's fine. And then one day, a British man named Barney Webster, played by Barry Stokes, of Enemy Mine fame, just shows up traveling with his guitar to sleep in their barn, and then slowly weasels his way into the house, has sex with Gene Seberg, and she immediately throws him out, and says, leave by the time my stepdaughter's back home. And as soon as Marisol shows up, he's like, nope, I want this too. So he stays around to seduce the teenage girl, and they kind of live in a like tense, awkward harmony for a little bit of him kind of like doing their housework, until things come to a head. Ruth Miller may or may not intentionally lock him in a basement with Chris Miller, knowing she's going to have an attack of wildly swinging a knife around. And when he leaves, a local family is then subsequently butchered by a faceless man in a raincoat with a sickle. So under the assumption that Barney is going around town and murdering families and wealthy women for their money, they decide that rather than tell the police this, they will fight back and defend themselves against this intruder.
The season of Desperate
that's about
Housewives
the gist of it.
Is wild.
But it is cute that there's like one neighbor. There's two neighbors. One who is like broke off his ass and living in his like family's mansion and living in one room as he sells everything just to get by. But his horses, he keeps his horses who he loves. And then there's another family that's like miles down the road that when they run into at like the local grocer, they're like, oh, we'll swing by. Yeah, we'll say hey to you and Ruth. And then when they're leaving, they're like, why did you say we would see them? We don't want to see them. It's a small town.
Yeah, your pleasantries should stay pleasantries. They should not become promises. What are you doing?
Everyone in the town knows that there's something up with the Miller house, and they just don't come around.
Oh yeah, and I love that when Ruth finally like has sex with him, to me, in no way does she actually want him. It's like, I am so horny for my stepdaughter, and I can't fuck her, so you'll do.
Yep. She just needs a little. She spends the entire movie going on about how she hates men. Men ain't shit. Men can't love. As soon as he shows up and like shows a little sexual interest in her, she's like, "Huh, I can use this." And the way Gene Seberg plays this character, Gene Seberg later said that she was ashamed of this movie and just took it because she needed the money. But like, she like puts a lot more into this character than a lot of other people would. There's a lot of like Carol Baker in like Orgasmo and Paranoia in this kind of vibe and performance. But like, it's very thought out, it's very subtle. Like, you can watch the cogs in her head through her eyes as she's thinking about like how to play this man. And the entire time he is playing them, or so he thinks. He's conning his way into staying there. He's conning his way into seducing Marisol. And at the same time, you fully know that Gene Seberg, like, sees him as entirely temporary. And, like, even before there's suspicion that he might be a serial killer, she's already planning on murdering.
Right, like, this just gave her the ultimate out of, like, oh, well, this just got so much easier to justify how I need to get you the hell out of this house.
And by doing so, it will trauma bond my stepdaughter and I together, so she trusts me more and needs more massages from me.
I can caress her face and pull her hair behind her ears as much as I need.
I will say, though, as much as we've discussed the relationship between Ruth and Chris Miller as being like, Ruth just can't have her, it's kind of implied that they have had each other and have been physically intimate before the start of this movie. And when Barry Stokes' character begins to stay with them for a bit, Marisol immediately understands that he fucked Gene Seberg, and like that's why he's here, and becomes jealous of him. And there's a scene where they're kind of all sitting around the fireplace together, and he's like strumming his shitty little guitar, which one of the strings is out of tune, and it was like bugging me every single time he played that fucking thing. Where like Ruth is like sitting on the couch doing her sketches, and Chris Miller is like, "Do you need a back massage? Do you want me to come over and give you a massage?" Like looking Barry Stokes in the fucking eye, being like, "This is our house. This is us."
Yeah, it's and like, so the question that I have in terms of watching this is because Chris Miller, the corruption of Chris Miller, happened before the movie. Like that is what's going on here. And it makes me think of like when she and stepmommy started having a sexual relationship. Was it in response to this? Was it something that was going on even before then? Is this a way for her to seek healing? Is this a way for her to seek power? Like, we don't know those things, and I kind of love that we don't know those things.
Yeah. Like, there could be a very, like, simplistic, like, reading on their relationship. There could be a very cynical read on the two of them together. And there could be a very, like, exploitive, like, scintilizing, like, ooh, it's gonna happen here, but that's it. But she's into men. That happened this one time because audiences want to see it, but no. And she does develop a bit of a relationship with Barry Stokes. He starts to seduce her. He asks her to go away with him. But that doesn't happen, and the movie ends in a very different place from any of those kinds of desires. But it is interesting that we do get Gene Seberg like out and out stating that I wanted revenge on my ex-husband. So I decided that the best way to do it is that when he came, if and when he came back, he would never recognize his daughter again.
Yeah, it's just
by turning her into my little lesbian puppet. And that is so outrageously, but it's the way she discusses it like, yes, that was the original plan and that was her scheme, but it very much seems like we've gone past that now.
Oh yeah, this to me feels a lot like, you know, the high school movie of like, at first it was just a bet, but now I'm actually in love. And it's like very much that sort of tone of like, at first this was just to piss off my ex-husband and your father, but now I realize something about myself, and I think you do too. Like, it's very much that. And to some extent, I like, because we don't also really know a whole lot about Dad, and we're getting from two like very wild perspectives. I think there was a little bit of trauma bonding between the two of them before the movie even started.
Yeah.
I don't think Daddy is a nice guy personally, but you know, it's going to be a lot easier for a stepmother or a second wife to notice that her husband ain't shit than it's going to be for the daughter. That's going to be a little bit harder in some cases.
Oh yeah.
Like, this movie has so much going on underneath it that it's not going to like explore, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think it's just there's a lot of nuances to these characters that we are not privy to, and it's going to be up to us as viewers to determine like how we feel, how deep we're willing to go with them as well. And I think that that just speaks to how, like you said, like this is like beautifully scripted, it is beautifully edited. Like, this gave us exactly as much as it wanted to give us, and not a second more.
I love that so much because it puts so much onus on the audience to fill in those gaps of that relationship in the same way that like David Lynch will be like, so here's this thing, there's a trash monster over there, figure it out.
Right.
Okay, bye. And you're like, okay, I can make these leaps, and those are scarier than whatever like James Wan's gonna put in a movie. Understandable. That's cool. But I also feel like this movie's doing this in that demographic because absolutely Juan Antonio Bardem is a very, very skilled filmmaker, and he's a very, very talented filmmaker, but he's also a very talented filmmaker of operating under a very controlling fascistic government. And like his previous movies, especially Death of a Cyclist, are like very much like class and like political criticisms, like slid under the guise of a thriller. So if he's going to be making like an incestuous sapphic movie, he like is able to like hide and peek the like intentions and inner lives of the characters just enough to squeak by the censors, but still fulfill the like prurient desires of like a male audience at the time, and also like the emotional like views of like queer audiences today. I think it's just really, really, really delightful. I also, and this is so much less poignant of a topic, I want to talk about how often Marisol rides a horse in this movie, braless.
So,
because god damn it, that is just painful to watch.
and like it's
and when she's not riding a bicycle, she's not riding a horse,
she's riding
braless,
a bicycle.
She's riding a bicycle braless to ride a horse and back.
And all of those scenes are beautiful. Like, they are
fucking beautiful,
so gorgeous. And it's like they just want it happens so frequently. And so like I think people hearing us talk about this might be like, this is a really sleazy movie, and it's like, no, this is gorgeous. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like at times this movie kind of feels like a hangout, like love triangle movie, and then surprise, there are also like stabby elements to it.
Yeah, it like that. It has as much in common with like, I don't know, like Purple Noon and La Piscine and all those like really like sexy summer like French movies from the 60s and 70s of like, we're gonna lay by the pool and talk about ennui and like the best way to make a martini, and you're like, okay, cool. But then also there's a crazy lesbian who's being seduced by her stepmom who's just released from an asylum who stabs anything when it rains. And there is a killer going around in a rain slicker and hood that people think is a monk that is butchering whole families. How will and there's also a MacGuffin of hidden jewels.
Yep. Like, this
I always forget about the hidden jewels, and then they fall out of the end, and you're like, oh yeah, there was hidden jewels in this.
This is definitely one of those like oops, all choices kind of movies, which I am not against because it makes it so much more interesting. And the fact that like This movie to me is so reflective of an art that no longer exists, which, you know, piggybacks off of what you're talking about like being able to sneak in messages when you're dealing with an oppressive government system. I miss this so much because I think everything has gotten so literal these days. And one, yeah, that caters to the lowest common denominator because now people can't misinterpret what you say. But now we're not teaching people to flex those muscles of how to
Yeah.
interpret things, have different reads, not have all the answers. And so media literacy is, you know, crumbling before our very eyes.
Dead in a ditch.
Dead in a ditch somewhere. But when you make something like this, where it is coded, where it is subtle, where it is subtextual, it then allows so many more people to like enjoy this movie for different reasons.
Exactly.
And we stop having like this very monolithic look and interpretation, because we could show this movie to like 20 different people and they're all going to have a different interpretation of what the fuck is going on between them. And it was so refreshing to watch this, which is why I was very excited you wanted to talk about it. Cause I'm like, oh, I've been craving this so much.
I was honestly kind of worried to rewatch it for this because I was like, it's been a few years since I've watched this. Is it gonna like, I have such potent memories of this hitting really, really hard and scratching so many itches for me that like I want to make in things and things that like my like dreams and desires and kind of like mash together like favorite things. Like, does this hold up? And I watched it with Ivory and I was like, yep. Oh yeah, like 15 minutes into it, she was like leaning forward and had a big grin on her face. I'm like, oh yeah, no, this works. The other thing about this movie that's like really unique to me, and I feel like doesn't get discussed enough, is that this like fits in a really odd place in the canon of giallo movies. So this came out in 1973. So if you like look at the like history of the giallo as a genre, it's birthed in the like early to mid 60s through like the movies of Mario Bava. Like if you look at like The Girl Who Knew Too Much, Evil Eye, Blood and Black Lace, that really kicks off a run, and that's like punctuated by, you know, movies like the Umberto Lenzi movies I mentioned with Carol Baker, and like Forbidden Photos of a Lady Above Suspicion, and like these movies that are significantly like more closely hewn to the work of Alfred Hitchcock, to Henri Georges Clouzot. They have a lot more in common with like Hollywood film noir and melodrama of like, you're gonna like watch a woman descend into like alcoholism and sexual debauchery and then be blackmailed by her husband, who it turns out was alive the whole time. Like,
Right.
it's gonna be things like that. And like, especially in like the later 60s ones, they like really kind of delve into like the youth culture at the time. There's a lot of like hippie criticism, and a lot of those are like drug trip sequences. And then, you know, we get like some like Sergio Martino movies that are a little influenced by like Rosemary's Baby getting into there, but like they're very female focused at that time. Like Blood and Black Lace is about models at a fashion house.
Right.
Like so much of it is very much about like middle-aged housewives like being conned by like the sexy guy next. It's a lot more like con artist stuff. It's not like serial killer stuff.
And it's very soapy almost.
They're very soapy. They're very melodramatic. They're kind of like, they're sleazier versions of what you could imagine like Joan Crawford doing in the 40s.
Totally.
Like you could see Mildred Pierce baking pies, but you could like Mildred Pierce bakes pies and like falls in love with a rich man who then seduces her daughter, who is the killer the whole time. Like that could be a fucking 60s giallo movie directed by a guy who only directed westerns, and then this just one giallo movie. And then they kind of petered off. And then in 1971, Dario Argento makes his first movie as a director, Birth Crystal Plumage. And that like changes the style, changes the voice, changes like everything about what the giallo is perceived as. And so now it's a mystery straight down the line. And there is someone who we don't see, but has a straight razor or a specific kind of bladed weapon and has black gloves, and we're going to get tits, and like the title's going to have like an animal in it or a color, and it's going to be 15 words long. And it's like, they're gonna get a little formulaic.
Mm-hmm.
And between 71 and 75, when Argento made his initial run and then kind of like capped it off with Deep Red and was like, enough of these now, we got a lot of like really, 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 really sleazy ones that are the ones that I feel like are now most well known as giallo movies, the ones that are discussed as being like predators to the slasher boom in America.
Oh,
Bay of Blood and like the idea of like someone's gonna run around and kill people and the kills are the most important part, and then we'll get boobs and sex in between and it'll be stylish and fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Death Walks in High Heels, Death Walks at Midnight, all of those movies. Corruption of Chris Miller comes out in the middle of that mid-70s cycle, and it is like fully the more like female focused like 60s gialli, and then near the end they're like, and then we'll throw in a killer.
Right.
We'll throw in a big killer slasher like torso set piece and then get back to it.
Yeah, it feels like this movie's kind of a bridge between the two very distinct styles, and that makes it very, very interesting, because I think you're totally right. When people do talk about giallo, they do talk about kind of the Argento giallo, and that's, I think, a lot of people's like exclusive understanding of gialli just in general. And so when I was watching this movie, I even admittedly like had that moment where I like looked up all the comps on it, and it was like, oh yeah, it's also a giallo film. And when it didn't turn into like the Argento one, I was like, oh, this is like old giallo. That's what's happening here. Okay. And then it gets to the end. It's like, there we are. Okay.
And then he hacks up the children too. And you're like, whoa. I should also say the family that does get hacked up is played by Juan Antonio Bardem and his kids.
So good.
That's adorable. It really felt like, I don't know much about the production history of this movie. Not a lot is on it. But it really feels like someone came to him and was like, these are popular right now. I can give you some money to make a movie if you make one like this. And he was like, okay, I remember some of those Italian ones like that. I'll write a script that's like that. And then the producers came back and was like, no, you need like a big murder set piece in here. You need like you need bodies. You need bodies to pile up near the end of this movie. And he was like, oh, okay. And so he added this in, added a fun religious twist to it, which like I will never complain about. And then was like, my family could do it. We can all be hacked to bits. That'll be fun.
I mean,
he has a great death too, where he's like, oh, there's something out over there. Let me go see what that is. And comes back with a gaping neck wound.
I'm always down when people are willing to put their families in it, because one, I think that it's always a good thing if like, especially if it's children, because you're in control of that. Like your kids are probably already used to you being a little bit of a freak. You don't have to worry about like scarring some poor child whose like stage parent is forcing them into a horror movie because this will be your big break and then we'll be set for life, kid. So I'm always down for that sort of thing. But this movie also has like multiple titles in other places, and I would love to know your thoughts about these titles, because The Corruption of Chris Miller to me very much is like, you know, like you're saying, like every title has like 15 words in it. It's very like Initiation of Sarah, like those sorts of the blank of specific name, like those sorts of titles. But learning that it was called Sisters of Corruption in the United Kingdom is like very interesting, because it like the second I hear that, it changes how I view Chris and Ruth's relationship immediately, because this idea of that they're both corrupted in certain ways. I'm like, I like that. And then what is it? Behind the Shutters?
Behind the Shutters was the US retitle.
Yeah, that one, I don't like that one as much.
It's a lot sleazier.
Yes, because this movie I think is a little bit more refined, and yes, that is a sleazier title. But I'm waffling between The Corruption of Chris Miller and Sisters of Corruption, where I'm like,
Sisters of Corruption is because it's got that Sisters of Mercy thing to it too.
Yeah, and also
Sisters of Corruption is incredible.
And to call them sisters when they are definitely a stepmother and a daughter is like, we're playing in a different sandbox here.
it kind of shuffles things around in an interesting way. It makes you think about them and it also like it pitches them as the villain and not Chris as like a victim that is being like a pawn between a sexually manipulative woman and a potential serial killer.
Yes.
Which is interesting. I was honestly surprised to find out that Corruption of Chris Miller is the actual original Spanish title and not like a tacked on US title.
Yeah, that sounds like a very American title.
Yeah. Which, I mean, is probably the aim and goal of it. Again, like, he's casting Gene Seberg, he's casting British actor Barry Stokes, and it was, like, intended for a wide international audience. It was, like, intentionally dubbed and stuff like that. It's hard to find the Spanish version. It's on the Vinegar Syndrome release, but other than that, it's mostly that. I will also say just a little bit about the ending. We can spoil it if we want to get into that. The movie's very old. So it's not like
spoiler alert for a movie that's older
new.
than like most of the people listening to this podcast right now.
Exactly. However, one of the most interesting things about it is how little that we actually get of Chris and Ruth at the end. We get a lot of their action, but we get almost no dialogue from them at the end, especially in those big final shots of them. So we understand less about the relationship after the fact, only that a lot of time has passed. And that there almost appears to have been an all like Robert Altman 3 women or like Bergman's persona kind of switch following the climax of this movie, where it really feels like Chris Miller has taken on the more dominant role in the relationship. That is really exciting and fascinating and interesting to me. That like there's so much discussion of like, I'm gonna go away with him, or no, I'm not, but I'm gonna leave you, Ruth. And then now the relationship has changed, the balance has shifted significantly. And they seem to have worked things out.
Listen, sometimes you just need to kill a man to bring people together.
I mean, in a way, this is a rape revenge movie. In a way, this is a giallo movie. In a way, this is a love story. And also, in a way, I feel like this is everything that like people in AO3 and like fanfic forums are trying to write.
Yeah, they like you're not wrong. Like that's exactly what's happening. And like, okay, so we have the two different endings because I did seek out both of them so that I could see them.
Yeah.
And what I think is interesting is that the Spanish version, which is them getting away with murder, is viewed as like the positive ending. Like that's the one that was going to appease like the Spanish government, is that like, they get away with it. And I'm like, okay, that's a choice.
It's a very bound ending.
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the other one that went to the international markets, is that like his stuff is found, and it's implied that like, yeah, they're gonna get caught now, like they're busted, and it's
only vaguely implied that though. It's only true. That his body is found, and his body is found sometime later, probably like a few months, maybe to a year later, and then the police are now going to investigate that,
and the police all run weirder than I've ever seen people.
Yeah,
like human beings don't move like that.
This is very true. So I think even that version has the like tacked on like, oh, the police are aware, justice will prevail kind of thing. But like, how can they tie him back to them? The only people that ever saw them together were murdered.
You know, that's a great point. And we don't have DNA, like, what is it, investigation? We don't have that yet. Like,
yeah. And how much do you think his body was corrupted by where it was? Like, and the way the body was discovered too. Like,
yeah.
Good luck pinning it on these two.
I guess
unless
it's
you
like
just
It's like the end question mark of like, but they found the body. Maybe they will get busted. Who knows?
In the same way that we were talking about the way they define their relationship in uncertain terms, this still, like, it gives enough for a certain audience to be like, yeah, good. You get those fucking dykes. You put them in jail. Good for you, police. But it also gives the people the ending of like, they're not going to catch them. So I think it's very satisfying. And the thing that I am only just now putting together, because I rewatched this movie earlier in the week and then I went to go see The Substance later, is that the ending of this movie predates the beginning of The Substance.
Oh.
There is a similar motif to the end of The Corruption of Chris Miller that is a very important part of the beginning of The Substance. And that brings us into the next section. Have they seen it? The game that we love, where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen said film. Do you think Carolee Forget has seen The Corruption of Chris Miller?
I think here's the thing. She's enough of like a cool freak that I think, yes, I think she has seen this.
Yeah.
I do.
I would love to find out that that's like a direct lift. That would be crazy. I doubt it, but like,
right. We can like fan cast this in our head though. Like we can make this. No, I do think that like if any director working today has seen it, it's probably her. And then we do know that Sean Baker has seen it because he reviewed it on Letterboxd. So we know
Absolutely.
that. We know that's true too. But yeah, I would say yes. I think she's seen this.
Yeah, I feel like she would dig this. This also, like, the other filmmaker I can guarantee has seen this is Peter Strickland. I can guarantee you that Peter Strickland has seen this, because you don't make the Duke of Burgundy
right
if you haven't seen The Corruption of Chris Miller. Who are you thinking?
I'm trying to think of like if I want to do something that is actually within the realm of possibility or something that is like silly, but
fuck it, go for silly.
Do you know what I think? Like genuinely, I think that Emily Skeggs' character Patty in Dinner in America has absolutely seen this movie. Like I think she's seen this movie, and it's like one of the coolest like art house movies she's ever seen, but she doesn't actually know what makes it art house. She just knows that she likes it.
Yeah.
And it makes her feel a certain way and doesn't know why it makes her feel that way. But this is like the weird thing she busts out at parties where people are like, how the fuck do you know that movie?
I feel like she watched this on Tubi at a certain point. And then I also feel like after, like, I mean, she's had a corruption of sorts herself. Exactly. She's had a growth. She's had that journey. She is now a different person. While she's similarly waiting on a man to get out of jail. I feel like post credits Dinner in America, she is like living in like a fun, ratty little apartment and like has built up a little collection of cult movies.
Totally.
Like she absolutely has Liquid Sky. Like,
oh, she's hit that Vinegar Syndrome sale. Like that's happened. And do you know, as I'm thinking about, okay, real person who I think has also probably seen this based on like buying a Vinegar Syndrome sale. I think Jenna Ortega has seen this movie. I feel like this is the time, because like she has been showing in recent years that she's into some like underground weird stuff that a lot of like her class of performers are not pulling from. But I could see her as somebody who did, you know, kind of come through the Disney machine for a brief period of time, or was it Nickelodeon? I can't remember. But like, you know, did family friendly stuff before becoming Jenna Ortega. I think that she would be interested in seeing Mary Saul's movie that did the same thing. I think she would have an active interest in this sort of thing.
Yeah. I think she would fucking love this.
I think so too.
Speaking of actresses who had a like kind of squeaky clean like teen, not fully squeaky clean because these were vaguely horror movies, but like had like a teen persona in fandom and then like grew up and like had like a hard switch into like adult perception and being in art house movies and being a lesbian. Do you think Kristen Stewart has seen The Corruption of Chris Miller? Keep in mind, Kristen Stewart played Jean Seberg in a biopic a couple years ago.
Okay, so the answer is yes, because probably from that research. But also, I think that like when Kristen Stewart like really embraced her queerness with both hands, I think she probably like fell down a rabbit hole of finding like weird queer movies. Because I think that that happens to a lot of, especially like big cinephile types, when they do learn something about themselves, they then fall down those rabbit holes, and they of course find the obvious stuff, but then they find the weirder stuff because again, like it's not as obvious, and so then that way, like you flex those muscles a little bit. Yeah, I think Kristen Stewart's seen this movie.
I think it's the kind of thing that like if the like Letterboxd top 4 was like interviewing her like in promotion of the Jean Seberg movie and was like, what was your favorite Jean Seberg performance? You feel like she'd be like, well, yes, Breathless is incredible and Bonjour Tristesse, and like I like took so much from those things. But I could also see her being like, but I really love Corruption of Chris Miller.
Yes. Yes. This is like your number 3 pick. This is like you get your obvious ones and then you hit this like wild out of left field deep cut. And then you end with something that's like very cool and populous, but like people haven't seen. Like that's how you do the Letterboxd top 4. That's how that works.
Yeah. That's the math to it. Oh my fucking God. I love this fucking movie. I'm so excited that we got to talk about it. I'm so excited that you got to see it for the first time. I'm so excited you liked it this much. If people listening out there have not seen it, go watch it. It's literally on YouTube. Like,
yeah, you can find it. It's there.
It's such a fun movie. It's such a fun time. It's a great one to pop on at like 2 p.m. and just like have a snack and like chill. It's very calming. It's very relaxing. It's very exciting. It's very thrilling. It's very fun. It's like nothing you've never seen before because it's really, really unique and had like a really very limited life. I really hope that this could like get a bit of an audience going again. This movie is just absolutely delightful.
Yeah, I hope this is one of those movies that like all it takes, maybe it'll be with this podcast, like we'll talk about it and then a bunch of people will be like, wait, I've never seen this, I should see this, and then suddenly everyone has seen it and then it's Possession. Like
yeah. And then it's being remade by Paramount.
Listen.
But I mean,
that is a whole other podcast.
I mean, for instance, you and I have been championing Dinner in America for like 5 years now. And all of a sudden, TikTok found out about it.
The TikTok teens have found it.
And they like it, thank God.
We need more TikTok teens to discover the corruption of Chris Miller. Hey guys, so I found this movie.
If you like lesbians and you don't like men, you would love The Corruption of Chris Miller.
Honestly, why has no one done that yet? Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should just make my TikTok account and just do the Hey Guys TikTok, but then I just talk about exclusively movies that no one's ever heard of. Like that.
You
I think
should
would
do
be
that.
That'd be a really funny bit.
It would be a good bit, but also maybe it would get people to watch some of these movies. I don't know, like
it's true. It's like there's a person that I follow whose name I can never remember who does kind of like ooh girl voice and then talks about like current events.
Oh God!
She'd be like, ooh, today Matt Gaetz was in trouble for doing this. Oh no! And it's like so hilarious. And it's like, well, if this gets people to listen, then I guess it works.
Oh my God. Well, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, BJ, for coming on and having such a fun time with this one. I cannot thank you enough. This has been a fucking hoot.
Yes, thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me a reason to finally check this off of my watch list. This movie rules, and I hope more people watch it.
Where can people follow you? Where can people keep up with you? And how can people interact with your art so that you can prove to your parents that you are successful?
So I am on all forms of social media at BJ Colangelo. My podcast, The Sunset Prom, is on wherever you get your podcasts. And we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/thissunsatprom. And Harmony and I's book on Sleepaway Camp is available at diedibooks.com. And if you are somebody who likes Kindle versions, it is available on Amazon as well.
Fuck yeah. It's an incredible read. Consider it essential, especially as we like go into the Halloween season and as those slashers are coming off your shelf and going back into your TV. It's so great to have something like that to accompany that.
Oh, well, thank you. There's been a lot of people who are like, I'm going to watch Sleepaway Camp for the first time. And I'm like, what a gift you have gotten.
Right?
And like the amount of people who somehow have not gotten the ending spoiled is wild to me. I'm like,
wild to me.
I was like, that's incredible. I can't wait to hear how you feel about it in the year of our Lord 2024. Wow.
A few years ago, I was hanging out with of some friends, and a few of them were also trans girls. And we were like gonna pick like a horror movie to watch for the night, and I brought over Sleepaway Camp, and no one knew it.
Unbelievable.
And I was like, slasher. And they were like, okay, let's go with that one then. And so we watched it, and like as we approached the ending, no one knew that element of it. And when that happened, they lost their fucking minds. Oh my god. Vindicated. She did nothing wrong.
She did nothing wrong. She did nothing wrong.
She did nothing wrong, and then she got 2 more movies out of it.
She sure did. I mean, technically she got 3, but we're going to talk about this.
Yeah. You can find me and all of my work over at sisterhidedesign.com. There's a shit ton of new work up there for the Blumhouse movie House of Spoils. I've got a couple new pieces up there for that. I've got a new box set with Radiance Films that just came out of Luis Buñuel movies. If you like the Spanish cinema we're talking about today, Buñuel is the art house king, and my favorite filmmaker of all time. So like a bunch of shit up there. Also for people in Los Angeles, I will be at Whammy this coming Sunday the 29th with like a massive amount of VHS tapes from my collection that I will be selling at a swap. Or swapping for other tapes and stuff. So if you want to like come and like get a copy of April Fool's Day on VHS for me, or like some crazy weird shit that I've got some really fucking awesome shit. I've got like boxes and boxes that I'm gonna be bringing out. Come by just to say hey, and check out all the other awesome vendors at Whammy. It's gonna be a super fun time over in Silver Lake on the 29th. At noon to 4 p.m. Come hang out and say hey. And you can also follow me on Instagram. If you look for Hyde Sister on there, or if you look for Sister Hyde or Drusilla Adeline, you can follow me on Letterboxd, and you can see what I thought of Tarsum Singh's The Cell. Next week, Josh will be back. You can finally stop complaining about my voice. No one has done it so far, but I know you're just being polite. And Josh will be back with us as I sit him down and we get into some 1930s insanity from Carl Freund and Peter Lorre as we develop some mad love. We'll see you then.
That was an incredible transition.